name is Brian, and today I'm going to teach you how to correct the exposure on a photograph that somehow has come out too dark. How do you fix that? How do you correct it? Well, first off, we need to find out how it happened. One of the reasons why photos usually come out too dark is because people have these brand new cameras, very expensive, and for some reason they haven't learned how to adjust the exposure or the ISO or anything else. And sometimes as a result, it comes out too dark. Another thing is that sometimes people who have these expensive cameras have a tendency to put them into full auto, and full auto doesn't always give you the good compensation you're looking for. So we're going to teach you today how to correct the problems with that, and one of the ways that we do that is by going into Photoshop. We can go into Photoshop and then pull in one of the photos that I'm going to be using for today, or that you're going to be using for today. And as you pull that in, I want to let you know that in order to take great photos, one of the things you need to do is learn how to use it. How do you use your camera? Well, first of all, these are some of the things that you need to learn in order to be able to make great pictures, to have great pictures, okay, photographs. One of the things is shutter speed. Shutter speed, aperture, ISO, white balance, focus mode, exposure compensation, focus points, metering, and flash exposure compensation. Those are some of the things that you need to learn in order to have and take great photos. But remember this, that from time to time, even though you take great photos and you know how to set it up, every now and then you're still going to come up with a dark photo. So I'm going to show you how to correct that, how to fix that. First, you pull the photograph into the area here on Photoshop. This is Photoshop cc2015. And once you pulled it in, the best thing to do and the most important thing to do is first of all make a copy by clicking on the background layer and then hitting Control J. Once you've hit Control J, it'll make a copy of the photograph that you have, and you'll be able to go ahead and make edits to the copy. You never want to make edits to your original, because if you make edits to your original, what's going to happen is if you mess it up and you can't correct it or you can't undo it, then you pretty much messed up the only copy that you have. So make a copy. Always make a copy. If you don't remember anything else, always make a copy. The next thing we want to do is go to Filter. And from Filter, we want to go to Camera Raw. Camera Raw will actually bring up the photo inside of the space here. Okay? And the very first thing you want to do in order to correct the lighting is to go over to White Balance. White Balance usually shows up as shot. What you can do is click it to Auto, and usually Auto pretty much clears it up pretty well. What you can do after that is go down to Exposure, which is about the third line down, and then pull it to the right until it looks good to you. You're not concerned about what it looks good to anybody else, but you want to make sure it looks good to you. Okay? Then you adjust the contrast. Usually if you pull the exposure to the right, you want to pull the contrast to the left and make that adjustment. It actually looks pretty good right now. So it's really no reason to go through the highlights and shadows, the whites, the blacks, the clarity, the vibrance, and the saturation, because it actually looks good now. White balance usually corrects the problem to some extent, but if you want to make further changes, you can always go to exposure, contrast, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, clarity, vibrance, and saturation. Once you're done with it, once you've completed it, then you can go ahead and click OK. It doesn't take long, it's done, it looks great. The next thing you want to do is make sure that as you're going through these training courses and you're putting in notes together and you got your notebooks and all that kind of thing, the best way to keep that information as to how to do whatever you've just learned, or to remember the tutorial, the notes from the tutorial, is to actually create a notes folder. Go ahead and click Folder and change that to Notes. Once you've created that folder, go over to Text Tool, the Text Tool, pull it out, and then of course change the points, the size of the lettering, so that you can actually type in there. And you just make notes, make notations, so that you can have that information inside of Photoshop. That way you're not looking for it, you're not trying to find it, you're not searching here, there, and yon. You have it right here on the screen. And then once you've done that, just make sure you drag it into the folder, and you can just turn it off so that you can make further corrections and that kind of thing. Well, that's all I have for you today. Believe me, there will be many, many, many more tutorials. So please like the page, as well as make sure that you subscribe with us. And you have a great day. Thank you very much. And leave a note down at the bottom if you have any questions or statements that you'd like to make. Thank you, and have a great day. Bye-bye.